Today we are going to learn how to make this health bar in a 3D scene. As you can see, we have our test subject, and when we click over him, he will take damage. And when his health reaches 0, he will die. Now, as you can see, we have a simple scene. We have a player and a camera 3D. The player has a health script with a max health. And when I hover over the player and click, as you can see, they take damage. 15 damage points per click. And then they die. Now let's add the health. So let's create a health bar scene. And let's name it health bar. Let's decorate the health bar. Let's create color, rectangle, set the size to full. Let's give it a darker color. Now let's add a progress bar and set the size to full. And as you can see, when I change the value, the progress bar will display the value by percentages. So let's hide the show percentage. Let's go to theme overrides, styles, and let's go to fill. Style box flat. Let's give it a green color. And we have our health bar. To make it look even better, let's add a margin container. And let's set the size to full. And let's drag our progress bar to the margin container. In case that the progress bar does not fit the whole size, all you have to do is set the size to fill in horizontal and vertical. Now let's select our margin, set the theme, constant, and let's set it, for example, 25 in all directions. Now we have this border-like effect. Let's select our progress bar, go to background, style box flat, and let's give it a background, a darker one. And as you can see, we have a better health bar. Now, as you can see, our health bar is in 2D and we want to display it in 3D. To do that, we are going to select our 3D node. Let's add a sub viewport and let's drag our color rectangle to the sub viewport. Let's go to 3D, select our 3D node, add sprite 3D. Let's go to the texture, select viewport texture, and select the viewport that we have created. And as you can see, we have a 3D health bar. To adjust the health bar size, all we have to do is select our sub viewport and adjust the size. Let's go with 32 by 64. Now, as you can see, the health bar is 2 times. So let's select our margin container, go 3D so we can see it, and change the size to 5. Nice. Now we have our battery-like health bar. Let's increase the length, so times 2, and we have our health bar. Now, as you can see, this health bar is blurry. If you are aiming for a pixel art style, all you have to do is go to flags, select texture filter from linear map to nearest. And while we are in flags, you can enable billboard so that the health bar will always follow the player. And now let's get to scripting. So let's create script, name it health bar, and in our health bar script, we are going to need a reference to the progress bar. So let's go export variable bar, and it is a type of progress bar. Let's assign the progress bar. And now let's add 2 functions into the script. First function is setup, so that whenever we create the player, we will also want to set the health bar to the value of the health of the player. So setup, and we pass in the max health, and it is a type of integer. So when we get the value of max health, let's set the bar dot max value equal to max health. After that, we are going to say bar dot value equal to max health, so that when we start the game, we start with full health. Let's add another function, which is just took damage. So this function will be called whenever the player takes damage, and let it pass in the damage, and it is a type of integer. Now all we have to do is go bar dot value minus equal damage. So we will deduce the damage from the value. And we have our health script set up. So let's go to our scene. Let's select our health bar scene that we have created and drag it to the player. Let's adjust the positioning to make sure that whenever the player takes damage, the health bar gets updated. Let's select our health bar, go under the extents, and let's add class name health bar. Now let's select our player, select the script, and let's add a reference to our health bar. So export variable health bar. And as you can see, the color has changed because health bar is a class name. So we will need to add different name. So let's go with health bar underscore, and it is a type of health bar. Now when we click assign, the only nodes that appear are the nodes of type health bar. Now let's set up the health bar whenever we start the game. So on ready, health bar dot setup, and let's pass in a max health. So max health, and whenever we take damage, let's go health bar dot just took damage, and let's pass in the damage. Now let's test our scene, and as you can see, whenever we damage the player, the health bar goes down. Now that we have a working health bar, let's add some visual effects to make it look better by changing the color of the health bar depending on how much damage we took. So let's go to health bar, select our fill style box flat, change the color to white, so that now we can change the color easily from the visibility modulate. So we can set it to green, yellow, and red. So let's set the value to default by green, and let's go to our health bar script. Let's create export variable gradient, and it is a type of gradient underscore. Let's create a new gradient, and let's color it as we please. I will just give it some cool colors. Now that we have our color gradient, let's go to our script, and whenever we take damage, let's go to bar dot modulate, and let's set the color equal to gradient dot sample and let's pass in the offset. So sample will take a value from 0 to 1 and decide what color is in that value and pass it into our modulate. So let's go to bar.value and divide it by the bar.max value. So if we have a max value of 100 and a value of 50, 50 divided by 100, and we get 0.5. Now let's test our scene. So we have green, and we take damage, it becomes yellow, and then red. Now to make sure that the health bar disappears with the player when they die, let's just reparent it to the player. So play again, and the health bar disappears. Now let's add a heart icon to the health bar. So let's go sprite 3D. Let's select our heart icon. Let's change the size. Going to scale 0.25, for example. Still a bit too big. Let's go with 0.15. There we go. Let's select our health bar sprite, disable the billboard, select our icon sprite, and let's go to flags, render priority, and let's increase it by 1. So the icon will always be displayed before the bar. Now, if we enable billboard to both sprites, as you can see, we have a weird effect because each sprite is trying to rotate on its own. To make them rotate together, we are going to disable the billboard and create a new node 3D. Let's assign these two to it, and let's create a new script. Or rather, we can use the same health bar script. So let's go to the script and add the reference to our node 3D. So export variable node 3D, and it is on the type of node 3D. Let's also add a hidden variable, which is the main camera, var camera, type of camera 3D. Now, why we need the camera? So that this node will always copy the rotation of the main camera of the scene. So let's go to script, camera equal to get viewport dot get camera 3D. Now let's update the rotation of our node 3D by the rotation of the camera for each frame. So let's go function process our node 3D dot global rotation equals to camera dot global's rotation. Now let's test our scene, or before that, let's assign the node 3D. So drag it here. Now let's test our scene. And as you can see, we have our icon. Let's adjust the size to make it look even better. There we go. Now let's play our scene. And we have our health bar. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.